like a couple of years.
You hide the truth, deny the truth.
I think if we all sort of pool our resources together, it could go on for a while, you know, and become just part of, you know, just part of the culture in Wales.
Kill the truth and destroy the truth.
In general, with the media in Wales, they're not really picking up on the fact they're still talking about, you know, Welsh National Opera and dance companies and Welsh language theatre, and it's all great. I'm not knocking any of that, but the biggest, for me, the biggest thing coming out of Welsh culture is pop music.
Guilty or not guilty, exploiting the crime.
Our first gig we ever played in Newport was in '93, and it was in TJ's, like, you know, we was on first, like, for therapy, and from that, like, it just went.
I mean, it's either the Newport Centre or TJ's, like, you know what I mean? It's like if you can't do a gig in the Newport Centre, you go to TJ's.
TJ's
invested all, like, you know.
definitely has been instrumental, inspirational,
Amen.
right, in the live music in Newport.
Well, the seeds of what we've got now have always been here. It's just that in the last few years, bands have come through, ideas have come through, and gradually the infrastructure for a self-supporting scene has just developed. And now, bands in Newport are pretty well catered for. They have everything they need here to start off. Everything's in place so that there's really nothing in the way of a band starting from very small, humble beginnings and just slowly pacing themselves and working themselves up till they're up to the level of, say, Dub War, 60 Foot Dolls, Novocaine, those sort of bands. And also, those bands now act as really good role models for bands coming through. It's great. It's a really good place to be involved in music at the moment.
Well, I don't know what to do.
We've always put live music on, ever since I opened, you know, from the word go.
'Cause I'm still in love with you.
Whether it's been a guitar vocalist or a piano accordionist, or even just doing local gong shows.
So do you think you'll be alright if I could stay tonight?
I've always had local bands playing there. I'm going to say some of the bands, I can't, you know, some of the bands, like some of the boys that's in the 60 Foot Dolls, used to mooch off school to come practicing. I can't tell you how long ago because Richard Parfitt doesn't want his age mentioned.
I got a bust out 45. It's playing sounds all so alive. Well, I think it'll be alright if I could stay tonight. Well, I won't keep hanging on, and I hate to live alone. So do you think it would be okay if I could stay?
I think you find that probably a representative, if not like the main A&R guy from every major company who's been to Wales in the last 2 years, if not the TJs themselves, you know, because not just the Newport groups, Welsh bands in general, like Catatonia, Gorky's, Super Furries haven't played in TJs, but all these groups have played there and have all at one point had, like, you know, the sort of general A&R crowd there.
It's been the continuity. And I think this is why Newport has got such a vibrant music scene, is because we've had the continuity of a venue. Also, it's not just TJs, you know, there's been pub venues like the Riverside Tavern that's been putting on music now for maybe 12 years. So they've kept up the continuity as well. Without venues, bands can't play.
Watch out, trouble in the morning, thinking out one more point. That's the piece of politics. Stop talking, get together. Stop talking, I'm not the little guy to say. What's me up in the morning? What's me about the dream? What's you open that morning? What's it open the moon? Something's wrong.
There's 1,000,001 John Secos all over the world, man,
every
isn't
country
there?
got
In
a John
France, we've seen a John Secola. You
Got
know,
all the bands out,
same
cooked them dinner
attitude,
and
got all the
everything,
bands, cooked them dinner.
Brilliant.
All right, boys, what's happening then? Tiny, like, you know, like, hey,
Yeah.
put that out. That's what got in you.
Brilliant thing to be in the studio and to be recording your second album is amazing, you know, because the amount of bands who split up, you know, and can't deal with it, you know. But it's a top buzz to be in the studio, second
and in this
album,
studio as well.
Rockfield with mental,
This is-
with mental, you really mental Kingsley Ward at the helm, like, you know, it's proper.
TJ's label fits in as obviously an extension of the venue. The label is seen as like breaking up and coming bands. You know, there's a lot of young bands in the Newport area. As you say, you've got Disco, who are young, and there's like the Choke Teens, Mumbo Jet, and there's several other really good bands here. The idea is to like hopefully try and get some like national recognition for some of these bands, and hopefully they can go on to other things.
We couldn't afford to self-finance our own single, so it gave us a chance to put out a few singles, get our name known, you know, which hopefully then would get us into music press, more radio, more gigs, which has happened, and hopefully like put us on a step towards a major deal. We've seen so many like new bands at the time which like we thought were exciting, and at the time we saw them, they were bands which were breaking something different. Everyone from like These Animal Men to like Manic Street Preachers.
So all the bands that have come out of Newport have been very different to each other. Not doing like the same sort of music all the time. It's not the same sort of bands like Oasis and sort of.
Yeah, if you go up to Manchester,
that's the sort of Manchester scene. And they're all the same, but the bands that are coming out of Newport are really different.
Now I'm waiting to pick up the Enemy and for it to be called Taff Rock or Taff Pop or something. I mean, that's the thing that really scares me at the moment, because you don't really know if you're at the beginning, the middle, or the end of something. I mean, this time next year, you know, everyone might be back on the dole, or you know, the bands might have split up, or alternatively, like, you know, the bands have, like, you know, might have had top 40 success.
We went back to his house and we took off all our clothes. His mother, she was cooking, but the kitchen door was closed. And we went out in the garden and we did it in the rain. I met him next Wednesday